You're listening to Court Reserve Unscripted with me, Ashley Owens. Hello, my friend.
Hey, Ashley, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so sorry I'm late. It's like one thing after another today.
No worries. I know how those days goes. I know how
Oh my
that
goodness.
goes.
It's so nice to connect with you.
Yeah, you as well. Pleasure.
Oh my gosh. So Jenny's told me a little bit about you, and her working with me at Court Reserve, and just so grateful to get to hear about your story and a little bit of pickleball.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that pretty much is my life at this point in time, which is not a bad thing.
How many hours a day or a week do you think you play pickleball?
Oh my gosh. If I'm in training or in season between teaching and everything, I'm probably 5 to 6 hours a day. If not, sometimes I've been up to 8 or 9 during certain times of the year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll go like 4 or 5 in the morning and then go break for lunch and then go another 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
So tell me what your life day is.
So my life day is the day that I ended up getting paralyzed. It was a 4/4 of '04, kind of a weird date, but and had a malformation of arteries in my spinal cord that I didn't know was there, and suddenly erupted. And I got really blessed. The world's leading specialist in my condition was in Phoenix at the time, and just got back in the country that morning. And without him, I most likely would have died.
Wow.
So I consider that the day that I got a second chance at life and that I got an opportunity to, experience life again. And so I never take it for granted. And I try something new every year. And 3 years ago, it was pickleball was my new thing. And so, because I met with a guy at a facility and he kind of gave me some, like, he was in a wheelchair as well too, and gave me one lesson, and then I got really sick for 10 months. I undiagnosed and ended up
Mm.
being a double kidney infection. Yeah, that turned into sepsis. So after I recovered from that, then I decided, oh, I'm going to try it again, and that was that April. And I took that, did one more lesson with him, and played 21 straight days for 6 hours a day. I was absolutely addicted. And then the only reason I stopped playing is because I had to leave town for something. Otherwise, I probably would have made it longer than 21 days. I would have just kept playing. People were like, "Do you go home? Like, do you leave this park ever, or you just sit around here all the time?" I was like, "No, I do go home eventually when the sun goes down and the lights turn off." But
Right. Or you
um,
run out of food or
yeah, exactly. And
need
I
a
joked with
shower.
the place. I said, if you guys get a food truck or a trailer here, I'll never leave. And the next year they had a food truck. And so I'm like, okay, here we go. Now I'm definitely going to live here. So no, it's been good
Wow.
though. I've been really blessed.
So how old were you?
I was 10 years old when that happened, and
Okay.
I'm 32 now.
Okay. And what does that look like as far as like your life today? I mean, are you on the court, on the tour? Like tell me a little bit about what pickleball looks like in your life.
Yeah, pickleball in my world, well, there's a number of different things. So a couple years ago, I helped start the United States Wheelchair Pickleball Association with another gentleman, and he runs it now separately. I had other things in my life that I was doing at the time, so I kind of he said, "Hey, yeah, you take that," and so he's grown that to a really good number of wheelchair players around the United States, and there's been an effort to continue to host tournaments, but my role right now is I play obviously on the wheelchair side of it, and we don't have a tour per se right now. We have events that are popping up every which way, and we're working on the effort of saying, okay, let's pick, 5 or 6 or 7 places in the United States every year where all of us can come together. Because there's some of us, but there's not nearly as many wheelchair players as there are able-bodied players, right? We had, I want to say, just over 60 something wheelchair players at the US Open this year. And
Wow.
there's what, 3,700 able-bodied players.
Yeah.
We're less than
Yeah.
1% of the community. So,
Yeah.
or close to 1%. So it's for us, it's not, it's again, we're not the main driver for a lot of this. And so we're trying to find places, like they're hosting a wheelchair nationals in Colorado this summer for the first time, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to see about getting out there to do that. And then the PPA has done it every year in Dallas for the last several years with their world championships. Obviously, the Open, the World Cup, when it's been here in the United States, has done it. They've also done it outside the States, but it's obviously easier when it's in here. So, but right now, my role is really just to try to help grow the sport, to get more people out there, to create awareness. When I often hop on a court, I'm usually one of the first wheelchair people that most able-bodied people have seen. If
Mm,
it's not one of my local places that I'm playing, they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, we've never played with a wheelchair before." How? And that they find that it's not really that different at all. That
I
it's
was going to ask, how is it different at all? Like, do you like bounces or how does
we
that
get
work?
two bounces. Second bounce can be anywhere, so it can be outside the court if we want it, if it needs to be. So that's a big difference. And then only other difference is our front wheels are our back wheels are our feet. So our front
Hmm.
wheels can be inside that non-volley zone, out of the air, and then if our back wheels cross over, then it's a fault at that point in time. That's the only difference at all at this
Wow.
point. So really, there's the only difference is the two bounces, and people forget once or twice, and then after that they go, "Okay, I got it." Like I just keep playing until they stop playing.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people like playing with us because we go behind them sometimes and get that second bounce that they maybe couldn't get to, or they missed or something, and they're like, "Oh, I like actually playing with him. It's a lot of fun." Actually, that was one of the things we had this year is we had so many people sign up for hybrid at the U.S. Open because they all wanted to play with a wheelchair player that everybody was like, I mean, I put out a note and said, "Hey, does anybody want to play?" And I had boatloads of people sending me stuff and going, "I want to play, I want to play, I want to play." So they really want to be
Amazing.
a part of the community as well too. And it's the only sport you can play with an able-bodied person. And so that crossover of that uniqueness is just it's what makes pickleball so great and amazing and awesome as a sport. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That
so
is
that's been my
amazing.
role right
That's
now.
amazing. Well, so tell me about your community. Are you in Phoenix right now? That's where you play and live?
No, I split my time parts of the year in either Florida or Naples area or Minnesota. So in between the two, and yeah, I'm right down the road from the park where the U.S. Open is held, East Naples. So when I'm down there, and yeah, it's a huge, and obviously it's the pickleball capital of the world down in Naples. So
I
that's
mean, they're
awesome.
everywhere. It's
Oh,
everywhere in
it's
Naples.
everywhere. I mean, even in the community, every community's got it now. The park, I mean, the park's what, 60 courts there now, and you go there in the morning, it'll be packed. I mean, you have an hour wait for a court. That's how crazy it is, and it's just so fun to see.
So, we work with a lot of clubs and facilities at Court Reserve. And
Yes.
how can you give some advice for clubs, to help make it a great experience for all players, not just wheelchair players, but for all players? What are you seeing in the club space right now? What
Yeah,
advice
no,
would
that's
you
a
give a
good
club?
question. And the interesting part is, when we do travel, sometimes we play indoors, sometimes we play outdoors.
Mm.
Obviously, when I'm up, it's funny when I'm if I'm up north in Minneapolis area, it's everything. And I tell people I can play 10 hours indoors because I'm not sitting in the humidity and heat, and I love it. But most places there's somewhere I've had to walk in and I'll call it be the trailblazer of the person that walks in because they haven't seen a wheelchair before and they're like, okay, what do I do about this? And it's like, whoa, calm down, guys. I didn't just come down from Mars. There's, we're around, but I know there's not a lot of us, but we're around. And a lot of them are very accommodating, say, how can we help you? How can we make things easier for you? Is there a better court that we can have for you? The biggest problems I'd say we've run into running tournaments at indoor spaces is and even outdoor spaces is the size of the gates. They need to be
Mm.
wide enough to fit a wheelchair because a lot of them will go, how much space can I get? And the answer is, well, yeah, 24, a 2 foot gate works for an able-bodied person and it barely works for me in my chair. But really, a 36-inch gate, a 3 foot gate is what you really need to allow a wheelchair. Because there's a place in Cincinnati, the Pickle Lodge down there that has been huge about supporting us every single year in terms of they do the Spooky Spokes event. But one of their things with their gates is that it's myself and I think one or two other players were able to fit through the gates. Everybody else had to take off a wheel to get through the gates. And so when they saw that, Mitch and the other owners there who are absolutely wonderful said, "Hey, listen, when we build our new facility, let's make sure the gates are wide enough. Let's make sure we think about these things." Right? But they had nobody around. They didn't think about this stuff when they were first building it. They were just trying to, but they've been so accommodative and helpful. So it's stuff like that. The other thing is obviously wheelchair accessible. Like, can you get to the restrooms? How's
Mhm.
the entrance as well too? In some of these places, I've had no handicap button, and I'm pushing in two wheelchairs most of the time because I have a court chair that I play in and an everyday chair, and
Okay.
I can get through doors no problem. But a lot of wheelchair players can't say, okay, I can open two doors and bring two chairs through them and all that stuff. And then I'd say the other part is helping those that aren't as strong of players be more inclusive in the community. It's there's been some struggles from certain people that are kind of getting their journey started, and people go, well, I don't want to play with them because they miss the ball every once in a while. I get it. Okay, playing 10 games in a row, maybe not, but rotate around with them, work with them, help them, right? Bring them into that space, or say, hey, how can we support you in doing a clinic with you, or how can we teach you, or let's reach out to people. And I get there's not a lot of I am a certified instructor now. And there's a couple other guys that I know that are certified, but it's there's not a lot of us around on the wheelchair side that are certified in that aspect. So getting more of that as well too, I think would be helpful.
That leads to my next question. I was going to ask, what's that look like from an instructor perspective, right? Is there any difference in being an instructor, and teaching able body and wheelchair at the
Chair.
same time, right?
No, it's a good question. For me, it's the side of I was because I was able to walk for 10 years, I do understand, right, the footwork and other things of going, okay, your right foot needs to be here, your left foot, and I can tell them out. I obviously can't show them, but I can say, hey, you need to be here and there. And then from a wheelchair side, I'm always still learning as well too. I mean, I've been blessed to play with some of the top players in the wheelchair division and learn from them and go, but we hit very different shots. A lot of our backhands are slicing because we were coming from a different angle than you are, and the ball travels at a different angle, and we're waiting for the ball at a certain place. Meeting the ball at a different angle from an able body perspective. We want our chairs to be different. So there is a drastic difference to saying, okay, if you're really getting down to the nitty gritty, I want my chair to be at this angle versus your feet should be at that angle, right? I want the ball to drop this low versus able body want the ball to drop that low. So when I teach able body versus wheelchair side, it does cause a change in that, but I'd say most of all, and as well too, the patience of wheelchair game isn't a whole lot of there is some dinking, but it's not like able bodied game.
Okay.
It's yes, you're trying to get there, but it can be a lot more again because you're hitting from a different angle and we have no lateral movement. So the answer is okay, you're trying to put the ball really out of reach from somebody, and what out of reach is quite different. And there's a lot of lobbing because obviously that's a harder thing to go get. And so yeah, there's a different dynamic to it, certainly.
So what you're saying is you could easily beat me now in pickleball.
Well,
Just lob it, man.
I
Just
just
lob
lob it.
it.
Just throw it over their head. We have I say the old joke when people first lob me, and just to kind of I go, hey, I can't believe you'd lob a guy in a wheelchair. I mean, I think I think at that point in time you don't even stop at the gates of hell. You just go straight through, right? It's like, I hope you feel shame for the rest of your life for
That's
lobbing me, and they're
great.
like, oh, you'd do it to me. I was like, you're right, I would
Of
do it to
course,
you
yes.
exactly.
So
So.
now, does this type of game have a different rating system than like an able-bodied rating?
That's an interesting question, and that's one of the big arguments that has come about right now because there's obviously two rating systems that at least I'm familiar with right now. Is one is the Duper rating system, and then another one that we've been in contact and worked with on the wheelchair side is VAIR. And Mike and those guys, and Mike was really the first one actually to step up and say, "Hey, I want." We ran into each other at the World Pickleball Conference last summer, and he said, "I want to create a wheelchair rating. I want to do a hybrid rating as well too, because that's the other
Oh
problem.
yeah.
When we play hybrid, people that I've played with in the past that have been 5.0 players, they go back and request not to have those scores put in because a lot of wheelchair guys are 3.5, 3.8, 4.0, and it kills their rating. And I go, that's fair. You played in a tournament with a wheelchair person. Why should we compare you to the 5.0s that you normally play? Then why should I tank your duper? Because so nothing wrong with, but a duper compares assumes everybody is the same age and the same in all that. They don't account for the wheelchair side. Now, my understanding is, and I thought that they were supposed to have a rating out for wheelchairs by the US Open. We haven't seen it come out yet, but I know it's been in the works, and there's been some great wheelchair players that have been behind helping grow that and get that formulated. But then again, you also have to consider, okay, does that person, right? I need two dupers then, because if I want to play pickleball, I will also want to play in able body tournaments because I don't really have an opportunity to play in a ton of wheelchair tournaments.
Mhm.
So if I go play able bodied, I want one duper for my able bodied and then another duper for my wheelchair side. And so getting somebody on board with that has been a big thing. And Ver has been really great at that as well too. And again, my understanding is duper is right behind that. But like my rating at one point in time was like a 4.7. And I'm going, no way in the world, right? Not that I'm saying my paddle skills maybe aren't there, but I just can't move like that. I might have no lateral movement. I'm obviously extremely vertically challenged. There's no way I'm jumping up to get anything, right? So, and if I do, we're witnessing miracles at that point in time. But that's it's just that it's a totally different rating. So the answer is if you really are comparing us to able-bodied people, there's probably only quite a slim few that could really compete with 4.0 players, and then other than that, everybody should be in that 3.0 to 4.0 gap somewhere, which is
Yeah.
normally where I hang out around.
I
Um,
mean, everybody's a 4.0, right?
Everybody, yeah, wink, wink, yeah, 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 yeah. I've had that a few. Oh, I'm a 4.0, and I'm like, I don't know what it is about that number, guys. Then I'm like, I like the challenge of playing higher level players, but it's at the end of the day, I just want to go out there and have fun and play. That's the bigger thing. I'll play with anybody at this point in time. So,
Any memorable pickleball matches that come to mind?
oh
Anybody
my
that you
gosh,
really enjoyed playing with?
there's been so many. I got the opportunity and the privilege to play with Kyle Yates at the World Pickleball Cup this past year. We played in the hybrid division in the US Team USA versus the world. So that was a lot of fun. And then the year, not this past Open, but the Open before, I'd actually broken my femur in November, and then they found a blood clot at the same time. And so I did a whole bunch of rehab and alternative therapy that I knew about and other things. I got blessed, thank God, able to heal the femur in 2 months. And then I had 5 wounds that opened up. So I trained in the midst of having all those wounds. I had literally a cast on my foot from the wounds. From some of them, I had one on my tailbone, and I was training and training, and ended up taking gold in wheelchair doubles at the Open that year. And then my partner, who's considered the number one player in the world, triple crowned that year and didn't lose a single match. He's the first ever wheelchair player in the 4.0 division to
Wow.
triple crown. He's phenomenal. And so it was fun to watch. That was one of a big one for me because to come back from that and then train is hard. I mean, we trained 5, 6 hours a day almost every day for 7 weeks. And it just was non trying to grow the game and trying to. And then this year, was big because I took more of a role of thanks to the Open, they reached out to me and asked me to help with kind of getting the wheelchair division organized, and it was really fulfilling to see so many wheelchair players out there and the support that the Open gave us this year, and the owners and Tracy Taylor, the one of the organized, and all those people. They said, hey, how can we make this the best possible tournament for you? And from the volunteers at the parking to everything. We had 22 hybrid teams in the 3-5 division, and it was cool actually. The last match this year, the finish for the 10th anniversary of the US Open was the bronze medal match in the 3-5 hybrid division. So it was a wheelchair division that finished up and wrapped up the whole thing, which was really cool to have that
Yes.
be the. So I'd say that, and then just traveling around the country, meeting new people,
Mm.
going to these PPA events and having that happen, and yeah, it's just there's it's the pickleball community is so cool and unique, and I ended up even meeting one day Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam at Lucky Shots in downtown Minneapolis. Yeah, he was playing and he goes, "Oh my, I don't know if you know him, Ed, and I have a band named Pearl Jam." I'm
Pearl
thinking,
Jam.
yeah, and I'm thinking, no, this can't be Eddie Vedder on a Thursday afternoon or Friday. I was thinking it was a Friday, actually, a Friday afternoon in the middle of the summer in Minneapolis. I'm like, sure, he's lying to me, whatever. And then I turned around, I was like, holy crap, it is him. And yeah, he was so cool. And he's like, oh, I picked up pickleball because when we're on tour we needed a way to relax and we just want to play, and I'm like, awesome. I mean, and he's playing with all his band there and stuff, and I'm like, that's cool. So and it's just cool to meet all these. And Yvonne Lendl, I had a chance to meet him and be a part of his charity event, and he's been a big supporter of the wheelchair division. So all these different people, it's amazing how
Wow.
pickleball has grown.
Can you look at your life and see this journey that you're on and never could have imagined it, but can't believe you get to do it now?
Oh, I told people a couple of years ago because when I started spending time down south, I looked at it and I went because I played wheelchair basketball for 19 years before this, and basketball is a unique wheelchair sport because you really only can get together and play with five other guys, or really actually need 10 technically, right? So you practice once a week, and if that doesn't happen, then whatever. And where I was, it was a 2.5 hour drive to either team. And I just went, okay, I'm not making a 2.5 hour drive both ways. That's 5 hours round trip. And so I really lost my passion. I didn't lose my passion, but I lost the ability to play a sport. I was out there shooting on my own all the time. And I just didn't have a community. And then when pickleball happened, and I'm like, I can go play this at the park anytime I want to, anywhere, and bring my paddle with me and travel around and play at all these different places. And I went, whoa. And then the friends that I've met, the people that I've met, did I ever think I'd be teaching it? Nope. I ever think I'd be teaching kids as well? Nope. And so it's just really cool the lifelong friends that I've met through this, and Jenny Johnson and their group have been such a huge supporter of the wheelchair division every year. And I ended up meeting them through Dan Forsyth as well too. And Dan and I played hybrid together when his duper allowed it. I told him I couldn't believe he wouldn't drop his duper down to a 4-5 to still play with me. It's kind of rude, but no. He was so fun to play with, and every year we got the opportunity to play together and meet. So it's just it's crazy how you meet people, and how the sport just continues to grow and flourish, and it's really cool.
What do you think's next in pickleball? We've got all of the international stuff happening and all the money being poured into certain aspects of pickleball. What does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that we're the wheelchair side of the game, I think, is just starting to grow. Obviously, I mean, overseas even it's just exploding. On the able-bodied side and even the wheelchair side. We've had some players that have reached out to us. There was a story written on in the Pickleball magazine about in the UK, and they held their first hybrid event. And so, as more and more wheelchair players, especially, there's a lot of wheelchair tennis players around the world, a lot of them. And as some of them start to say, hey, you know what, covering that massive tennis court is a lot of work and wear and tear on my body, we've started to see some of them switch over to pickleball, which is awesome because I mean, they're very talented players, and they can hit the ball hard. I mean, really hard. And so it's fun to watch these guys. And so I think as that continues to grow, and hopefully one day, I know it's been talked on the able-bodied side as well too, but the Olympics, and then even see the Paralympics adapted, because it is the perfect sport for the Paralympics. And it's not only that, it's the perfect sport to tie in the Olympics and the Paralympics together. And I'd even love to see that hybrid division. I know they probably want to put it in the Paralympics, but I'd love to see it actually in the Olympics, because it is a crossover of both the wheelchair and the able-bodied side, and so get more exposure to it that way. But and what the World Cup has been doing, the Cabiasis siblings there. They've been really great about the wheelchair side as well too, and PPA has been getting behind it. So it's just I couldn't believe the numbers. I think somebody told me it went from 5 million players to 20 million in like 2024 to 2025. And I went, if it keeps growing like that across the world, I mean, it's just there's just the market's unbelievable. And the funny part is I've never met a sport where people will literally have like need two knee replacements and just be hobbling onto the court. And they're like, I'm still gonna play today. I'm like, I do have a spare wheelchair if you need one. We call that recruitment and the wheelchair side of the game. If you ever get hurt, come see us. We'll welcome you with open arms. We have extra wheelchairs. No, but not that we want that. We want you to stay healthy, right, and on your feet. But no, I think it is. And I've even started crossing over. One of the things I did was when I got injured, I started playing ping pong
Oh,
and crossing over with ping
hmm.
pong because it helped with my hand-eye coordination and especially my speed at the non-volley zone and at the kid. So that really helped, and that translated over as well too. So I think you're going to see even I've seen some players even come over from that sport as well. So yeah,
Sky's the limit here, it sounds
it is
like.
it is sky's the limit. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What's the one place you haven't played that you're excited to go play at?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'd love to do there's one, I think it's this summer in PickleCon is going to be in Kansas
Hmm.
City again, and I know Ryan Anthony, one of the wheelchair players who I grew up actually playing wheelchair basketball with, and I'm good friends. He's been behind helping grow that side of it, so I'd love to do that at some point in time. And then I'd love to do an overseas tournament. I know the World Cup next year, I think, is going to Vietnam. And so it'd be really fun to do something overseas and just get more exposure to that and grow that side of it as well too. But just the sheer size of some of these facilities is just unbelievable. And even going out to Dallas every year playing in that PPA tournament at the World Championships is just like wow. I mean, it's in being amongst, the pros and playing with them and having fun and having them be a part of it as well too is has been really cool. So
Do you think that the certifications for pickleball are supportive of wheelchair pickleball at this point in the certification realm for
yeah,
instructors?
I think so. It's one of those things where I got blessed with the way I got certified that they had experience with people in chairs already because one of the individuals that was a part of it knew about and had a sibling, I believe is what they told me, that was in a wheelchair.
Hmm.
So when we have people like that come along, and the other part is we've got several governing bodies, obviously, in the pickleball world, and it's getting all of them to talk and say, okay, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, how can we best support you, right? What is the best thing? And I tell people to I never I at least for myself, I never want to come from a place of entitlement because I don't deserve anything in life from that perspective. I want it to be earned and I appreciate everybody that supports us. And some have been really good and they're like, "We're going to put you right in the middle of the park." And I actually go, "That's actually not the best idea because it's smack dab in the middle of all the traffic and you've got 40 wheelchairs here and that's just not the best place versus saying, hey, it's okay to put us over here, but hey, do say highlight and say, hey, there's the wheelchair division over there, this is kind of what they're doing. And they've been really good. Most people have been really great about that and saying, okay, how do we make it as a part of it, and even making sometimes that hybrid division like not even an actual division for certain tournaments, just having it be an exhibition thing, because then it allows members of certain clubs to go, oh yeah, I'd love to come up and play on that Sunday and play with all of you and meet you and have you be a part of this. Even the members at Pickle Lodge in Cincinnati, they're the ones who raised enough money that every wheelchair player that came didn't have any lodging expenses.
Wow, that's amazing.
and didn't and like barely paid anything for the fee as well too. So, and there's other places that are doing the same thing as well to help out with that. So it's really cool to see people get behind the community from that perspective as
That's
well.
amazing. Well, it
Yeah.
sounds like maybe you need to hook up with Pearl Jam and y'all can go on tour together.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
I mean, a little
Exactly.
band, a little play, a little bit of everything.
Well,
So,
the funny part is I was there with a buddy trainer who just started in pickleball, and I asked his wife if she wanted to go with us that day, and she said no, they're both in wheelchairs. And then when we called her after and we said we just met Eddie Vedder playing pickleball, and she's like, I'll start playing tomorrow. Like if it's gonna be like this all the time, I'll start playing. I'm like, it's not like this all the time. I don't run into, rock stars every other day doing this sport, but no, it's really cool to see. And even on the referee side, as the rules evolve,
mm,
saying, okay, what in the refs, I mean, God, they are just phenomenal. The ones that have been out there, especially part of USA Pickleball, they have been how can we help this? How can we make this make more sense? What does make sense? What doesn't make sense? We're trying to change a couple rules right now because right now, if you stand at the kitchen line and turn sideways, you're still outside of it. Right now, if I am sitting there with my front wheels in and I turn, I'm technically violating because my back wheel is now in the kitchen, even though my body is still in the same spot. So the answer is, okay, do we change that rule that your momentum can carry one wheel through, right? What does that look like? Can you even catch that as a referee? Stuff like that. So,
all right, here's my last question.
yes.
Able bodied or a wheelchair. If somebody is interested in playing pickleball, what's the first step? Because it's intimidating. Sometimes it's like the Lord of the Flies at the public parks,
It
right?
is.
So,
It
so
is.
what's the best advice?
Yeah, oh gosh. I tell people just start, right? Just go over there, start talking to people. And you know what? If people, I learned a long time ago because tell people I had to grow up quickly because of what happened with I was actually in the hospital when I was 2.5 years old as well. And I spent 11 months in the hospital, 5 months in the ICU. And it was really bad, almost died in there as well. And life's short, and if you're gonna hop on a court and people aren't going to accept you and want you to be a part of it, that's a problem with them, not with you. And go find a community. We had a group of ladies that were down in that played at the park in Naples every day, and they played in a league as well too, and they didn't win one single match the entire year, but they loved it because after they go to tacos and tequila and they get their drinks, have their tacos, their salsa and chips, and they just again didn't win a single thing, but they were like, we love the community, we had so much fun, right? We were out there playing, we're exercising, we're enjoying our time. I tell people that's the biggest thing is just start. And again, you're gonna find the people that go, oh, I'm a you know this
7
level
0.
player. Yeah,
I'm an
and you're
8
like,
0.
yeah, I'm an 80. Exactly. I'm better than Ben Johns,
Yeah.
right? And sure, sounds good. Sure you are. And you know everything and sounds good. And come and do it with an open mind and an open heart as well too. Because even now, as much as I've played, I realize I still don't know everything. I really don't. I'm still learning constantly from all types of players, able-bodied, wheelchair, both. And that's the beautiful part of this sport is that I've played with, I think the youngest I've played with is a 7 or 8 year old young man, and the oldest I played with was a 94-year-old that was playing at Lucky Shots, and he had worked in that warehouse as well too back when it was like an old Fauché warehouse or something like that, and came back and played on his daughter's 72nd birthday with her. So where can you have a sport where a 94-year-old and a 72-year-old, you know, father and daughter walk in and play a sport together? And he was good. Like he was getting to stuff and hitting the ball back over. And I'm going, I tell people the more neoprene and braces that are holding somebody together, the better they're going to be. They're just going to kick your butt. And if they got glasses and a headband, you're done. Just don't even try at that point in time. So,
Mic drop. That's awesome.
exactly, exactly.
Well,
But
thank
no,
you.
and we appreciate everybody, everything that, you know, the court reserve and everything that has been done there, and it's been smoothless and seamless and easy. And that's been great as well too to have access to all these facilities because I became very familiar with it very
Aw, thank
quickly.
you.
And I was like, wow, I was like this because I was, as I said, I was playing at 5 different facilities one summer, just going all over the place. And they're like, do you sleep? I'm like, not really. I just play pickleball and go around and grab food in midst of it. And then, and as I said, Lucky Shot's got dangerous now too, because they've got that kitchen there and everything. And I'm like, I might live here for a little while. So
That's amazing. Well, so
yeah.
good to spend time with you, my friend.
Yeah, yeah, you as well, Ashley. Thank you for this opportunity, and if we hopefully get a chance to meet on the court one day, and
We will.
would love to have you as a part of the hybrid division as well too at some point in time, because this sports, as I said, we're on the ground floor here, so it's going to be really fun to watch it and see it grow.
Love it. Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you'd like to learn more about how CourtReserve became the go-to club management software for racket and paddle sport clubs, come say hello over on our website. There's a link in the show notes.